After completing this lesson, you'll be able to define video, explain the difference between analog and digital video, and describe how video is used at home and at work. We see the world around us because of light. Colors are visible because light is either absorbed or reflected from surfaces at different wavelengths. These wavelengths are often portrayed as a spectrum of color. This visible spectrum represents what the human eye can see. The spectrum is continuous. There is no clear boundary between the different colors, but instead a series of gradations from one pure color to the next. These light waves of color can be captured as a series of still images. When you play back the images in succession, the illusion of motion is achieved. That's how film works, and it's how video works as well. The difference is how the images are captured. Film uses a photoemulsion that reacts to the different wavelengths and reproduces an image. Video uses electronic circuits to capture the image. Video, like film, relies on a trick of the human eye called persistence of vision. When a series of still photographs are displayed in rapid succession, the eye's retina retains each image for a split second. When the images follow each other at a particular rate of speed, the human brain melds the individual images together, resulting in the illusion of motion. What is video? Video is a series of electronically captured still images displayed in rapid succession to achieve the illusion of motion. Since light is just another form of electromagnetic radiation, the variations in light's wavelengths that represent brightness and color can be rendered accurately by electronic circuits. This electronic waveform signal is called an analog signal. Even the smallest fluctuations in the signal results in subtle variations of color and brightness. For electronic waveforms to be captured digitally, you have to represent them as finite binary numbers. The translation from waveform to number is never 100% accurate. The number is an approximation based on measuring the waveform at various points in time. The more sampling points, the more accurate the representation will be, and the bigger the binary number. All those ones and zeros quickly make video file sizes too large to be adequately handled by hardware or software. For that reason, any digital representation of an analog signal has to be a balance between accuracy and functionality. We'll look more closely at both analog and digital video and how they work in the next two modules. Television is 100% video. Whether the programs are broadcast, delivered via cable, or transmitted by satellite, they all start as video. Even movies shot on film have to be transferred to video before they can be shown on television. For many years, television was strictly analog, but now, with the rapid expansion of digital cable and HDTV, television has entered the digital age. But video has gone way beyond television. You can watch a DVD or a VHS tape, play the latest video game, watch video streaming over the internet or directly to your cell phone. You can make and edit your own home videos. Video has taken over the consumer electronics industry. Video has also become an integral part of the corporate world. Corporations can offer live video or video on demand over their enterprise-wide networks. Video surveillance systems offer businesses higher levels of security and loss prevention, as well as help government agencies crack down on crime. Digital signage delivers key information to employees and customers.
After completing this lesson, you'll be able to explain how video is recorded to and played back from magnetic tape, and explain how video is recorded to a hard drive or DVD. Both analog and digital video can be recorded onto magnetic cassette tape using a videotape recorder, which is also called a VTR or a VCR, or using a camcorder, which is a combination of a camera and a VTR. The tape exits the cassette and passes over one or more record heads, which are mounted on a spinning drum. The video data comes into the recorder from a source, which could be a television set tuned to a particular channel, or the imager device on a camcorder. The data is recorded onto the tape as a series of magnetic stripes. The drum is at an angle to the tape, so the record heads write the data stripe diagonally across the tape. A faster drum means data stripes can be stacked tighter. The faster the tape moves through the recorder, the more data stripes can be laid down. After the tape passes over the heads on the rotating drum, it passes over a set of fixed recording heads that lay down horizontal tracks containing the audio information as well as other important control information such as a time code. Time code is a way of marking each frame with a unique number so it can be referenced when the video is edited. To play back a recorded tape, the tape passes over a playback head in the VTR or camcorder. The head rotates and is at an angle to the tape just like the record head. The playback head reads the diagonal stripes of data and sends them to the electronic circuitry in the VTR. This circuitry then translates the magnetic stripes back into video, which can be sent to a monitor for display. For video data to be recorded to an electronic storage medium such as a DVD or hard drive, the video must first be converted to a digital format. Then it can be written using the hard disk's read-write head just like any other piece of data. It can also be burned onto a DVD using a laser. In digital format, video and audio are just other data file types that can be written and retrieved on command.
After completing this lesson, you'll be able to explain the evolution of black and white and color television, list the key events in the history of home video, and list the key events in the digital video revolution. Video really began with the invention of television. As early as 1928, a form of television set was being sold in the US and Europe that relied on a mechanical spinning disc. It's generally thought the work of American inventor Philo T. Farnsworth led to the creation and marketing of an all-electric black and white television in the mid-1930s. After World War II, television began to find its way into the majority of American homes, and by the late 1950s, it became the dominant form of home entertainment. In the early days, television shows were broadcast live because there was no way of pre-recording. Then in 1956, a reel-to-reel videotape recorder became commercially available and made it possible to record the video and audio signals generated by a television camera onto magnetic tape. Various forms of color television have been around since 1928, but it wasn't until 1951 that competing color television technologies were standardized in the U.S., and the first color television broadcast was sent to a limited number of stations. The first coast-to-coast color television broadcast in the U.S. was in 1954, and by 1967, most primetime television shows in the U.S. were being broadcast in color. Also in 1967, color television broadcasting began in Europe. In the U.S., it wasn't until 1972 that the sales of color television sets outpaced those of black and white sets. The first reel-to-reel black and white VTR for home use was marketed by Sony in 1965. But it wasn't until the video cassette became available that consumer adoption of home video really took off. The first video cassette recorder appeared in the UK in 1972. In the late 1970s, European and Japanese companies created more advanced VCRs, and soon there were two competing home video formats, Sony's Betamax and RCA's VHS. Studios began releasing new and classic films on video, and soon VCRs became the new must-have piece of consumer electronics. Eventually, VHS became the dominant video format, and remained that way until DVDs took over. The first all-digital video format was Sony's D1, introduced in 1986, and used exclusively by the television broadcasting industry. The first form of digital video to appear for consumers was an early form of Apple Computer's QuickTime format in 1990, which allowed video to be displayed on a computer. Over the next decade, advances in digital video led to better compression schemes, which allowed video to be recorded and played back on DVDs and more compact magnetic tapes. With the introduction of the DV digital video format in the mid-1990s, and its rapid adoption by professionals and consumers, the digital revolution had begun. Today, video is primarily digital.